Goodness gracious, everybody. Yo, first stream on YouTube. Okay, yes, first stream on YouTube. Let me introduce myself. My name is Theo P, or at least I like to go by the name of Theo P, and this is the POV of Theo P channel, as it kind of explains itself, or as, you know, I think it's pretty straightforward. You know, this is my point of view, or this is everything social media wise. This is the point of view of Theo P. But yes, big stream, at least for me, myself, and I. Definitely have to cover a lot of things, introductions and kind of like, all that goodness and all that. But hopefully everyone is doing well on the second day of 2021. Let me know how you guys are doing out there. 2020 was definitely a difficult year for many people, if not most. In my opinion, I lucky enough to not really feel those effects, but I do feel for those out there. Like I said, this is not my first stream. I'm coming from Twitch, pretty much. I don't think I'm gonna be like having YouTube be my new place of streaming, but definitely it will be a great place to stream podcasts. Like I said, start from Twitch, playing a whole lot of video games, but at this moment in time in my life, I wouldn't say I can't like focus on video games, but I just definitely can't be investing as much time as I used to, and it's kind of sad. I've been doing this since 2018, at least the very later part of that year. And yeah, just been playing video games, been able to, do a whole lot of like hours straight, When I first was doing this, it was like I was able to do like 8 hours, and then it got shorter and shorter as, more responsibility adds, and, just had to take things seriously. But yeah, that's kind of just a little background, at least for streaming wise. But yeah, also, if it's interesting enough, I'm out here on the west coast of the United States. So I'm in California. Well, there's other states, but typically a lot of people are going to be from California, at least I am. Bay Area, shout outs to the Bay Area. Love my area. But with how everything is going about, I'm not saying that I don't love it anymore, but it's getting a little difficult too. This is kind of, this is my first time streaming on YouTube, so I'm going to be trying to set some foundation as who I am and where I view things per how my personality lies within the spectrum of everything around us with social media, politics, entertainment, get my point of view on a lot of things. I mean, who am I? I'm just a typical person just like anyone else. Just not social media famous, and thus not famous at all. So I'm not a celebrity. But I feel like there needs to be a little bit more voices. I know with 2020 and just social media being how it is for the past decade, people have found who they particularly like. So at least for all politics and views and such I'm not I'm not like really, I wouldn't say I'm a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I wouldn't even say, I'm some other party like libertarian or, I'm some anarchist, or anything like that. There's no true party that covers everything that I ideally would like to see in the world. There are many pros and cons to everything. But I like to keep an open mind and hope that I can, get a discussion with people out there on YouTube. That's why I kind of made this jump from Twitch. I feel like the Twitch community is like a niche community of just video gamers in general, and then I'm sure with how 2020 came about, I'm sure Twitch has kind of expanded with other things. At least for me, I've been seeing some YouTubers, not necessarily gamers, but they've made that jump, and they're like fitness people, or they're DJs and stuff like that. So it's cool to see Twitch expanding, but I don't necessarily see it, being bigger than YouTube, at least for music wise, or sorry, not bigger music wise, but at least for like a general audience. And yeah, with how ads and I don't know too much of what gets copy striked and whatnot. So I'm gonna try to keep my language to a minimum. Twitch, you can kind of get away with it, but it depends on your audience if they'll accept it or not. But at least here, I'm gonna follow some guidelines. So bear with me, as I might not be able to necessarily say a particular term, but hopefully you get what I'm speaking of. So I'm kind of a little everywhere right now, but I kind of wanted to speak of 2021 and beyond. At least for what I believe to be the bigger picture. I kind of hope that people can put aside differences and be able to, come together as one nation. Because it is kind of, it is getting a little intense with how divided this country has become, particularly this past year. Wherever you are, wherever you land within everything, I kind of hope that with all this animosity, it doesn't it doesn't truly peak, and then we kind of go to a point of no return. I feel like just with the pandemic happening, I do feel that politics kind of is on the forefront, since they're everything's a little locked down. More focus is onto things other than entertainment, and not interestingly enough, but entertainment was a true big part of our lives, and to have everything shut down to truly then affect entertainment and travel and all that, probably put politics and all that to the forefront, what isn't bad, and then more people getting into it ever since Trump was elected. Where am I trying to go with this? So yeah, politics may be more in the forefront, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But like I said, there are some bigger picture topics that hopefully certain things, just this election and who do you want as president, and how to go about this illness. I hope we can kind of put it aside once, if something bigger happens. And I feel like it is truly happening. It's terrible to have it where we can't, a lot of people are out of jobs, and they're forced out of these jobs because of, politics and stuff like that, and government can't truly help. And it sucks. It sucks when it gets to that point. Hold on, I need to check something real quick. It is, I should take that out. So, I'm on YouTube, gotta check, everything. Totally different from, Twitch. It's interesting. I think I'm, really behind, delayed on, my broadcasting, but it's, kind of whatever. First stream on YouTube, and, I just hoped to at least, connect with someone out there if they're able to, run across this, but, I guess I have to kind of do all this. But if you, are interested in this journey that I'm about to go on with these videos, and, would love to chime in, give me your ideas, discuss about things, then definitely, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell. Definitely would help me a whole lot with this journey with YouTube and all that. So, yeah, 2021, definitely a big year for America, in my opinion. It it'll definitely set the tone of where we're going to be going. Biden has that entire 100-day mandatory mask wearing. So we'll see how that plays out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too knowledgeable of everything coronavirus related. You are phony. I don't know how I could be a phony, but sure, why not? If you believe so. Can everyone dislike this phony? There's not even anyone in the chat, it's just you, mate. But sure, if you want to be a hater, go ahead. All I'm trying to do is discuss about the world ahead of us and how we just try to go about it. Because, 2020 was a very difficult year for many people, yo. And, keep your head up. Don't let this, beat you down. Even though, if you're here out in the U.S., the government kind of doesn't, have you on its mind for sure. Definitely, it would have been great to get 2,000. But it is one of those things, too. It's we might get, instant gratification now. But what, long-term effects might that happen in the long run? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we just gotta hope. We just gotta hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? And also kind of keep our ear to what's happening around, around our situation, stuff like that. Because, there are many people out there that are talking about the survival rate of the coronavirus is 99.9%, or probably I shouldn't say that, but whatever. I'll learn little YouTube policies later on. But, where do we go from here? If we are getting results like that, where people are, the mortality rate for, I guess, age group of people is pretty high. So does that truly justify closing down everything where people are losing their livelihoods? Because it is, at least for Californians like myself, we are in an indefinite lockdown. And when it comes from higher ups who aren't even following their own rules, where do we go from there? Can we, as Californians, are we just gonna take that? Because there's so many places in our area, or at least my area, that are closing down that have been around for at least in San Francisco 100 plus years. In my area, there's been places that have been gone for 70. They've been there for 70 years. And it's sad that certain policies that, whatever you may believe, is helping or not helping. We know for sure that it's what's it called? It's affecting businesses. So who can we trust? I'm not saying that you can't and you shouldn't trust your government, but when it comes down to it, can you truly say that your government has your back? I think it ultimately comes down to what's it called? People starting their own little communities. At least for me myself, I am, I do like the idea of smaller government. Kind of I'm not, like I said, I'm not an anarchist where I'm saying that we shouldn't have government at all and no rules, but I feel smaller government, if anything, state government and all that is definitely, at least for California, is not the best. But I don't know, federal government shouldn't like be in everything. You know, I can't really like truly. I can't say I can't give out examples, but you know, the typical things that you hear is like, you know, government bailing out big businesses and stuff like that. You know, there's all that like Wall Street and corporations within like our governments, and them helping corporations out more than they are truly helping the American people. And yeah, you can kind of see that as well, because like I said, everything's closed down except for these big box companies that truly didn't even need like this attention, but they did. You know, they did get this special treatment, like this special attention, and they've been raking in, you know, the profits. I've been seeing like a lot of articles floating around, seeing that like the, you know, top, I want to say top 500 riches, or like the top 5 most rich people out there. Yeah, just, you know, raked in the profits of this coronavirus. Like Amazon did well, Walmart did well. I'm sure like Home Depot and the such that were still open did very well. So yeah, it all kind of like it's all just pretty like gloomy, you know, for 2021 at the moment. But like I said, we shouldn't keep our heads down. I feel like this is a time to be more active, most definitely, especially if you're kind of getting sick of how things are. At least for me, myself, and I, entertainment-wise, you know, I'm into like comic books, video games. I do like my superheroes. So like, you know, television or movies of the such get my interest. Anime, games, like I said. So where am I really trying to go with this? Sorry. Yeah, with kind of just how all those forms of media have kind of like going, it is, I wouldn't say that like it's not like the best way to go, but it's feeling like with a lot of the rhetoric there is a lot of like you know, lines in the sand being like formed. And you know, one thing that I've been seeing around like social media, which is kind of like disturbing to me, is a lot of the like silence is compliance, and you know, senators out there are just like, yo, watch your back, like we coming after you, like, yo, those are like real actual threats. And it's no wonder that at least here out in California, you know, a lot of people are, you know, arming themselves up with guns. Like gun sales were like through the roof during this pandemic. And like I said, you know, I hope that we can kind of like drop this animosity for like a greater good. Like, sure, you might not, you know, totally agree or even agree partially with, you know, what your, you know, what have you, neighbor, if anything, might have to say, but like to go out and like truly be like, yo, no more. Like, you know, it's either me or you, like, you know, like we can't be like living in the same area. Like, you know, I hope it doesn't get to that point, like this tipping point that it just kind of feels like it's happening. So I guess to, you know, kind of go on like this one little, or discuss about this one topic, I'm actually quite surprised, to be honest. So there's this tweet from this guy named Nader Bahu, and he retweeted this little like snippet from Eric D. July. And, if you ever heard of that person, let's just all keep an open mind. So if you have your little queries, we just gotta keep an open mind, as people like him are definitely trying to have a discussion. And like I said, what interests me about this is that this Nader Bahu, or at Abel_Nader, someone from the Bay Area, and I actually know, I don't know him personally, but I've bumped into this person, going to like video game tournaments, and he even sells right here is like, yo, I'm a Smash Bros competitor, and yeah, I play Smash Bros, fun game. But what's cool too is that Eric D. July actually like retweeted this, liking it. But Californians definitely whole lot are Democrats. So interesting take. Eric D. July, I would say, is not on that like Democratic liberal side. I wouldn't say he's like a Republican. Maybe more on like the libertarian side. But check him out at Eric D. July to get more of his ideology. But let's hear this like snippet of what he had to say. And like I said, for someone like Nader, who's in like the Smash community, to be up in the political thing and actually have his thing come out, and I'm like, wow, actually I ran into this person. It's very fascinating. And that's the beauty, I guess, of Twitch.
When he talks about welfare statism.
So yeah, let's see what he.
Thomas Sowell, when he talks about welfare statism, and the way that he breaks it down to me is genius, and the way it's broken down to me and the way I break it down to everybody else, is that I understand the good intention, right? You have someone that is down and out, and you want them to be supported in some kind of way. The problem is that how it's structured, and generally how it's structured everywhere else, is that you're incentivizing them to fail. Because what you do is you say, as long as you meet this line, we'll give you whatever it is that you need. Housing, food. The minute you get above that line, we're stripping it all away from you. And that's what they're doing. They're incentivizing. That's why a lot of folks that are there stay there. Thomas Sowell, when he talks about welfare statism, and the way that he breaks it down to me is genius, and the way it's broken down to me and the way I break it down.
Okay, so it's
is that I understand the good intention, right? You have someone that is down.
So yeah, a fascinating topic to talk about. You know what I'm saying, and also a little touchy. But why is that? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that, what's it called? Why is it that is like a thing for people, where some might like get comfortable and just wanting like the free stuff? I mean, I need to definitely see people's situations, because I can, it's probably understandable where it could be one person is, have like many kids or something like that, or have to take care of someone. And, they're just like, why not? You get this free housing, free like food. So like, why not like stick to that and be able to kind of just like, live off welfare. It's interesting, like at least for someone like me, if I were to ever get into such a situation, I definitely would like try to get out of it. I mean, there could be those people that are trying to play the system where, they don't have to concentrate so much of providing like a shelter or food. They can just like put most of their energy into like, hopefully you would think probably like streaming or content creating, something of like some sort of side hustle, where they can kind of get themselves out of their situation. But maybe they kind of like go into more like, illegal trade type of stuff. And then, you know, kind of just like reap off those benefits of under the table money, and then being able to get free stuff and kind of like leech off of, you know, taxpayers and stuff like that. Because, you know, that's terrible that some people kind of would like, you know, take advantage. And then, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how the world is in general. A lot of people, if they can, will take advantage of the kindness of others, or not even like definitely the kindness of others, but this for sure is like, oh, since it's like the government thing, like, you know, I'm not hurting anyone truly. But with programs like that, and, you know, I'm not saying we shouldn't have gotten stimulus, but we just have to be very wary of what's going to be, or, you know, what consequences happen when we kind of get like this instant gratification, I guess. But I mean, like, you know, all this is like a snowball, that like avalanche, because it is like, how should we have gone about this, you know, illness? How should we have gone about, you know, and like, if it is truly about locking down, like, you know, should we have gone stimulus? Shouldn't we have, or should we have gone in, you know, more of like a, you know, a freeze on like rent and stuff like that? It's unfortunate, but we kind of have to, I wouldn't say we can kind of like put that in behind us. I know some of us are probably going to be like, you know, dealing with something like that sooner or later, if not, yeah, if it's not happening at the moment. You know, I've heard, well, Trump, you know, signed the bill, and I'm guessing unemployment. Yeah, I think unemployment got increased or extended, but it got, you know, decreased to like 300 a week and all that. But yeah, what did it do for yeah, like renters? I don't know. I'm not like renting at the moment, so I'm not in that situation, but yeah, what would have been the solution? Because, you know, I'm sure there was, you know, the thought of like, oh, yeah, we can't just have our community, or, you know, we can't have the economy just close down, and we just be fine. You know, they probably thought it'd just really truly be only so many months, but, you know, how can you truly believe that having everyone just stay at home, like, people were gonna like obey that, you know? And it wasn't just like the people in the beginning, or at least the, I guess the right, the Republicans going like, this is, you know, against our Constitution or against our, you know, our liberties and stuff like that. It's not just them, of course, you know, the protests, the riots, all that combined, you know, Biden getting elected, so people partying. Like, how can you truly believe that people were just going to stay inside? And it's terrible too, you know? You can't say that one side was correct while the other side wasn't at all. You know, a lot of hypocrisy from at least like Nancy Pelosi. Definitely, she was like telling people to come out to Chinatown and hang out with people. Even though like now it's all about like, yo, we have to stay inside, wear a mask, be 6 feet. And then we see her and, you know, Gavin Newsom out and about at like, you know, either getting their hair done or they're at like parties. And I just recently heard that Gavin Newsom was out in Cancun or something like that, or like the Caribbeans. Interesting. Very interesting in my opinion. So So where do we go from here? We all can point out all the problems that like have been happening. But where do we go in 2021? It's kind of the question. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, myself, I was able to kind of get what I needed to do in 2020. Like complete it and stuff like that. Definitely one of those people in the situation where, I needed to get myself financially correct, get myself situated. Just make it better for my situation. And was able to do that, even though everything that happened, I was still able to be able to not let that affect what I needed to do. So yeah, like I said, I'm curious is where do we go from here? What is going to happen? There's so many things that like kind of coincide, and yet it could like also affect everything else. With how this election went, and I'm like kind of everywhere, and it'd be great hopefully in the future to probably get like people to like chat and discuss about these policies and just daily life. But I'm curious as what people think about kind of like the tensions between, I guess, both parties, I guess Democrats and Republicans. I mean, I feel like it was just the coronavirus, to be like truly honest. Like with how the pandemic was going about, like I said, a lot more focus was on like politics, since sports wasn't there. A lot of like things were delayed because either filming or it was just not like the right time to drop it, or like movies weren't coming out or this and that. So but like what if it doesn't like get any better, and since more people are into politics and more people are focusing more on like social media and politics, this is the year for politics, definitely because of the election. Yeah, where do we go from here? At least I know for all this like all this money printing, whole lot of people are kind of getting out of like the dollar and stuff like that, believing that a whole lot of inflation will be happening. It looks like Bitcoin is beyond $30,000. Dogecoin is like at a penny now, which is nuts. Like that was like trending on like Twitter and stuff like that, which is interesting. But another interesting take as well is that like with cryptocurrencies, it is truly like how widely accepted is it? You know what I'm saying? Like definitely when Bitcoin was introduced, and still up to now, definitely, a great place to go. If you believe like the dollar bill, like the American dollar is like falling from grace. But still, like it is not still widely accepted everywhere, which makes me then like kind of like, I wouldn't say backpedal on getting like Bitcoin, but it is at like, it could get to a point where it is like, if Bitcoin gets to like $100,000, like who would want to sell their Bitcoin, or who would want to buy the Bitcoin if our money gets to be that much? Like, I feel like if it gets to 100,000, then at least the dollar bill is very just weak and maybe hyperinflated. Especially if it like happens within like the next 3-4 years. But yeah, if it goes for $100,000, you have to kind of be wary of the strength of the dollar bill and where does Bitcoin, how much can you get that not translated, but how much can you get that transferred, or how much can you get it transferred to another dollar, maybe whether it be like the yuan or the ruble, whatever, the pound. Like, what happened if the next world reserve currency, it doesn't mean a thing to Bitcoin? You know what I'm saying? Like, say if China becomes like the next reserve currency, knock on wood, stuff like that. But I have seen article, or I won't say articles, but I have seen an article where it says like, yeah, the growth of China is about to outpace like the U.S. and it's not surprising. Pandemic like closed everything, and China is still kind of like doing its thing, manufacturing for whatever it be, mask and whatnot. But yeah, lost kind of where I was like going with, but it's an interesting time to be around, and this might be, this might be one of the more interesting times to be alive, because it definitely is like, where are we going? Like I said, with the elections, I don't think there will be, like a civil war and people like killing each other and stuff like that, but there could be the notion, or at least the idea of like a divorce or something like that, from what I've been hearing from other people. I kind of find myself listening to people like, Luke Radowski of We Are Change, Tim Pool of like Timcast IRL, and his other like Tim Pool, Timcast, stuff like that. And, people like Eric D. July seems like as well, very, similar ideologies. I wouldn't say everything, but a good amount of topics we could probably, specifically discuss or agree upon. So yeah, just letting you know who I've kind of like get some information from. I mean, I listen to a whole lot of people. I don't necessarily need to listen to like the left and get like, their topics from a lot of things. I kind of already pretty vocal with everybody. But then, like I said, it does raise questions about everything. I know I'm being kind of like vague, or that was very like, what? Very confusing. But for sure we need to like come together and work on it. Though, people in like Congress probably are not great examples and stuff like that. Because where am I trying to go with this? Whether, whatever, how you feel about, this entire new age of like PC-ness, I guess is the best term. Sorry for a lack of better term, but this PC-ness, kind of like, at least people of, moderates, even like conservatives, go of this like go woke, go broke thing. I'm curious about how people feel about that, just the general public, because definitely for sure, like I just mentioned, like those of like the moderate ideology and conservative ideology and whatever, other than like the left and the Democrats and all that, they see this like this woke culture, this like cancel culture that's brewing, and it's not a bad thing, but I feel like definitely for sure how they go about it might be not the bestest of ways to go about it. At least for someone like Eric D. July, who is similar with me as he plays video games, likes comic books, and the such. Sees it everywhere from like his video games to comic books to everything, where it seems like every corporation is like lecturing us, or they're kind of pandering to certain things. One thing that Eric D. July brought up with Tim Pool and Luke on Tim's like podcast is that a lot of our corporations or whatever, creative geniuses of these like big name companies are just kind of like rehashing things. And at least for Eric, he's saying that like the community or like the comic books and all that is just like it's in a bad area at the moment. And I wouldn't say rightfully so, but yeah, there have been decisions that were very questionable. Like we all, I wouldn't say we all, but I feel like me and maybe my age of like millennials always like sort of saw like equality. You know what I'm saying? There is definitely this weird, what's it called? Not like this weird thing or phenomena, but and this might not have been a topic to anybody or like an actual topic, but I guess there was like talks of why the generation before me or the generations before me say, you're welcome, as to my generation and younger say no problem. And I never got it as, I never got like the older generation being like, no, you should be saying you're welcome and stuff like that. So like I said, I don't know if this was truly like a topic, but to come along this perspective and stuff like that, kind of does make certain actions of, other people a little bit more understandable. So if, for someone like me, I grew up watching a whole lot of, I guess, female-led things. Sure, this was a Japanese thing, but, Sailor Moon was one thing that I watched. There was Xena around in my times. There was, Kim Possible. There was like the Powerpuff Girls. I know a lot of cartoons, sorry. But there's like Clarissa Explains It All. There was the Amanda Bynes show. So I never, I'm not saying I don't get why today's society is why it is today, but I never saw the need for this push. And it kind of seems like how we're going about pushing for this like equality might be the like wrong way about it from what it stemmed from. At least what I can remember is like a whole lot of actresses going or lashing out against Hollywood, saying that they weren't getting paid as much as their male counterparts. And it's understandable with the situation. Now, a situation like this, and this pertains to a whole lot of other situations, but it truly isn't black or white, unfortunately. In some situations, yes, it is black and white, but overall, it is like a shade of gray. And I can totally get it if at that time, maybe one actress, like star power, draw power was better, so you might like pay them better. But it should come down to like skill, how much like airtime did they play, like what their character is, because there are awards for like, oh, he's the lead, they're supporting and stuff like that. So like if you're a supporting role that sure, your role is important to the story, but you don't get as much screen time as a certain person, then I think it's rightfully so that you might not get paid as much. But if you are a lead, you get as much time, as much lines, your character is very important to the story, then yeah, and you have like the same acting prowess, or you bring that caliber as someone who should get like paid a lot, then yeah, that's justly so. But if you're a terrible terrible actress or actor, sorry, I shouldn't just say actress outright, but you know what I'm saying, like if you're not that skilled in acting, which would be surprising. I mean, not surprising how you get a lead, but it should be surprising. I mean, there's different ways to get leads and stuff like that in today's age, but if you're a terrible actor, you shouldn't be paid as much as like a good actor. And I feel like how society responded is that like, yo, we should get more females into roles. And I never thought that was such a big thing. I don't know. But, I'm just seeing it from like the outside, and go ladies, getting more roles and having roles being created for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there isn't anything wrong with that. Like, I do like the fact that like more roles are becoming like, oh, it doesn't matter if this is played by a male or a female at all. Like, I totally like that idea. Like, they had it for Doctor Strange, where I don't know what the Chosen One, whatever Doctor Strange's like mentor was, like I forget the actress, but originally that character was a male in the comics, but was played by a female in the live action. Totally cool with that. That's totally dope. But like to have it where it truly is like, okay, now we need to make everything female. I just don't like it being forced down our throats. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's being forced down our throats because maybe studios and whatnot are trying to capitalize on the shift in, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a trend, but I'm sure people are like, yo, we need more female empowerment. So like, that's what's selling. So they're like trying to go with that. And I'm sure that's kind of, or not kind of, but I'm sure that's where a lot of like ideology or idea thought process is like coming from these like groups. Cause I mean, there's nothing wrong with like, was it Ocean's 8 or something like that, where it was just like the ladies, nothing wrong with that, but were people asking for something like that. I mean, I only seen like the first 2 movies of the Ocean's movies, but they were pretty cool in my opinion. So another like a female led, crime thriller like that, or a bank heist thriller like that would have been sweet. Didn't need to be Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8. No, but definitely for sure, like because of nostalgia factor, because there is the member berry era that we're still sort of in. Yeah, we're still in it, where a lot of things are getting rehashed. Like, a lot of things are coming back. Tom and Jerry's getting like a live action. Like what? Smurfs were getting this live action. All those other things that are coming back. Jeebus. God. I mean, there's a lot, like they had like the Ghostbusters. I've been sure maybe, well, and that's the thing about it too, like intellectual properties or licenses, things need to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like to still keep this license, you need to do this and stuff like that. And it's crazy. It's crazy with how everything works. But at least for like licenses and stuff like that, things need to come back. So that's, I guess, a contribute that contributes to, oh, like, member this, member that. But, you know, like, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. But I hope it doesn't, like, truly define or kind of like, I don't know, truly define. I just hope it doesn't lead us into like a area where we just can't dig ourselves out of it, you know? Or like, oh, now we're gonna go hardcore with like men projects in the future, and you know, we're kind of like setting ourselves up now for like, oh, now men are being like mistreated, and you know what I'm saying, that's another topic too that people definitely I wouldn't say don't like discussing, but it's kind of like one of those things that people don't really think about either, where it's like, yeah, women can rape men, you know, they can sexually harass men, they can do everything too, just as men, but it's always like we think of guys being like the bullies, and sure, you know, granted, maybe, or most likely, a lot of men are, you know, bullies, and you know, a lot of them are, what's it called? You know, use their force and their, you know, guys use their force and strength or something, whatever, to pick on people. But we can't turn a blind eye onto these things, you know. And I feel like, you know, kind of segueing to the next thing, we shouldn't like turn a blind eye to a lot of things. You know, it's just a surprise. It's a big surprise that Kamala Harris, of all people, is like VP. And sure, you know, whatever you believe with like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, their like campaign and all that, it's just surprising to me to see that, you know, what would be considered Democrats, like the far left, you know, they totally pick they totally pick people that weren't like at least coinciding with the far left whatsoever. Like, it's very interesting. You know, you know, with like Black Lives Matter and the like, pushing for defunding the police and all that. It's interesting how they picked like an attorney general who was pretty much like a very strict cop to those with like maybe minor, you know, drug offenses, and you know, those that were already like in incarceration, stuff like that. Like, she kept them there longer just to like use their slave labor and stuff like that. So it's always like one thing and another. So according to the Daily Beast, looks like porn stars are terrified of Kamala Harris. And I'm just assuming that it's gonna, at least what they say. So this is by Sherry DeVille, Daily Beast. As an American, I am thrilled to see Vice President-elect Kamala enter the West Wing. As a porn star, I'm terrified. This is not Sherry DeVille. This is who she interviewed. I respect Harris for seeing guys and women of color through a compassionate lens, or seeing gays and women of color through a passionate lens. After 4 years of Vice President Mike Pence, it'll be nice to see someone make the executive branch empathetic again. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too big of like what happened with, or what policies and all that of like Mike Pence, but yeah, he has been empathetic. That sucks. Still, I doubt Harris' executive empathy will extend to exotic dancers, porn stars, strippers, prostitutes, or erotic masseuses. The vice president-elect brings a lifetime of animosity towards sex workers to number one observability circle. It's hard to stand out as a sex working hate politician. Most politicians hate porn stars, so I struggle to keep track of all the senators, district attorneys, and other elected hacks who rail against the performers and the pornos they watch. But Harris is so against that she came on porn stars' radar years ago. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it's a members only story, so I only got so far. But yeah, they remember her days as the attorney general or district attorney for San Francisco. And people know. So yeah, it looks like, at least on that front, it looks like people know what they need to do. Because yeah, change is coming, whether we like it or not. And I mean, sure, you've already like believed of the change because of, oops, sorry, like elbowed you guys, with the coronavirus and all that. Definitely a lot more changes, especially with the election. Yeah, looks like, at least for porn stars, it looks like someone, sorry, yeah, a little congested. Looks like for them, yeah, Kamala Harris isn't like, you know, the vice president that they want, or at least they have to take action about certain things that she might be about. And then, you know, at least with Joe Biden said within the debates that he's all about the Green Deal. So it's not just like porn stars on the front of like how to go about their ways of life, but also people of like oil, you know. Fracking might be a thing of the past with Biden and his work, but who knows? We'll see what's up with January 6th, if I'm not mistaken, with the entire elections of senators and all that, having the new Congress. Because yeah, if it's still what's it called, a Republican Senate, then, you know, a whole lot of like, oh, we're gonna try to do this, and then it might be blocked, and, you know, oh, that's trying to happen, and like, oh no, it gets blocked again, one way or the other. Sorry, I'm looking at things. Another portion of this stream that I wanted to do was going to be for news of my area. Because, you know, we can always talk about, you know, national news, world news. It's always good to stay, you know, grounded, as in like, you know, your area. Got to know what's going on everywhere, not just in the nation. But at least, like, kind of to recap, hopefully, you know, if you're liking what you're liking, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the you know, hit the bell, get notifications. Definitely help me what I'm doing as I try to do more of these podcasts, and, you know, kind of just try to spark a discussion amongst those. You know, I'm just a Californian mindset, Bay Area mindset. So let's see what we can think of. You know, we can always point to all the problems that are happening, but we can't think of like solutions. And like, we're no better than, you know, than those people that don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if we can point them out. We gotta be able to come up with solutions. Because, like I said, you know, with the printing of money for stimulus, and not just stimulus but bailouts for the airlines, and, you know, just all these other projects that they were trying to do, especially with that Corona bill, where all these like foreign aid was going out and about. So, you know, what do we do about it? You know, there's hyperinflation with all the money printing. So, like, you know, should we have not done any stimulus, but then like given those that, don't have work and still have to pay rent, like give them like a freeze on it and just have no one make money. So it's like it's interesting. And what is the numbers of the coronavirus? Because uh you know depending on who you listen to, it's deadly or not as deadly. So to justify like a total lockdown, and at least for here in California, indefinite lockdown, like, yeah, was it necessary? So getting to like an hour of the stream, I just want to take a quick little break. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I mean, I'm not really talking to anyone in my opinion, but hey, that's how I do it. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. Just look at this. Look at these articles. Okay. Okay. I'm back. What is going on? Suggestion? What? What is going on? Hopefully, everyone can still hear me. Hopefully. Twitch. Yep. You already know. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. I am back. Never fear, everybody. Okay. What is the world doing? What is the world happening? What is the world happening? I'm lost. Okay, so this is according to the Mercury News. Jason Green wrote this. Yeah, so despite early and aggressive measures to contain the coronavirus after seeing some of the first U.S. infections last January, California ended 2020 with the most COVID-19 cases and the third most deaths in the country. According to the New York Times, California recorded 2,322,661 cases. Okay. Bringing the total year to 25,971, according to a data compiled by this news organization. I'm assuming they're still referring to New York Times. So, if that's true, $6,000 kind of more for a quarter of the deaths. Yeah. But California had 66 COVID-19 fatalities per 100,000 residents. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying these are just numbers to me, but there are a lot of people in California. For 25,971 to have passed away due to the coronavirus is unfortunate. That's a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But to the bigger picture of California and its entire population, California population 39 million in 2019. Officially, California added 21,200 people from July to July 1st of 2020. So still around this 39.5 million. Just curious. Just do some math. Or maybe that should have been opposite way. Okay, I'm not doing my calculations right, but nevertheless, this is a small percentage of the coronavirus. So, at least for my opinion, I kind of believe that they kind of locked down everything a little too soon. I mean, if anything, they could have like, and that's like with California altogether, 25,971. That doesn't, say, divide that in half, and then that's probably like, oh, Northern California and Southern California. So only 14,000, about. Oh wait, the half of that. 13,000 people. Yeah, I feel sorry for those. But then those that are going to be suffering because they can't, like, they don't have work, you know? Because it's difficult out there, not, just to get a job in general. I've been hearing people being, not accepted because they're like, oh, you're overqualified. And unless you want this, like, how much you normally got at the last job, then we can't hire you. Unless you take like some fat pay cut and you're doing something that you're not, you didn't go to school for, or what you've been doing since it was like your job. So it's just, we just have to adapt to like our situation. At least for someone like me, I'm in construction, and I'm just ever so grateful to be able to stay working. I'm a floor installer, I guess, or installer, installator, floor hardwood floor installer. That's what I do as a job, as a 9 to 5 at the moment. So I've been like grateful enough to still have my job, even after the initial lockdowns, which, pretty much told everything to close down. And, they're like, oh, wait, but, let's slowly open it up to like construction and all these things that are essential, deemed essential now. But for those that didn't, like, a lot of articles have said as well that like jobs have been lost because of this pandemic, and because everyone, can't, everyone closed down pretty much. So is, they can't bring those jobs back since they haven't been working. They don't have the income. Man, that's unfortunate. I'm seeing like an article in my like area's newspaper, like a daily, or not daily, but local newspaper. Yeah, it looks like 9 people were killed in some fiery crash on a rural California highway, and then 7 of them were children. Jeebus, yeah, that's terrible. Going to Fresno. Yeah, it looks like the car veered off road into a southbound, so they're pretty much going like opposite directions, and then they pretty much, my bad, they played a game of chicken and like crashed into each other. That's all bad. The Ford only had 6 seat belts. Oh no. Yeah, that was the other driver. I guess he was in a Dodge. A range of ages. Wow. The 7 kids. Dang, dude. Terrible way to start the new year. I feel sorry for those families. Families, if not just a family. But yeah, I guess like now is like a better time than ever. Kind of have to. Oops, am I still on my desktop? Yeah, you're looking at random things. I guess it's best. It's better now than never to kind of like maybe make something for YouTube and stuff like that. Give out like little segments of my streams and all that. That is what I like with this. What's it called? Just like look up articles, read them, maybe do something about it. Pokemon Go running can help you stay fit in the new year. Hatching eggs and catching Pokemon monsters is a big motivation to keep moving. Interesting. This is by Geisen Chacho. Geisen. Pokemon Go is secretly a fitness hack. If you look beyond the cuteness of Pikachu and the simple battle mechanics, few games are more effective at getting players off the couch. That's part of the game's mission. It pushes players to go outside. Wow, this is like an article for those that have not heard of Pokemon Go. But okay, well, things to do, entertainment for the year 2021, at least according to Geisen Chacho. You can play Pokemon Go. Go beyond. So, at least one thing you can do for the new year is play Pokemon Go. Which is not bad. I play Pokemon Go, to be honest. So, that's why it probably grabbed my attention. Okay, so, yes. Pushes players to go outside and explore community. For me, that has led to a deep dive into running as a symbiotic hobby. Pokemon Go has turned me into a runner, but I'm not a serious one. I don't try for personal records or push myself to run a marathon. All I do is jog around my city hunting for pocket monsters. That what makes Pokemon Go running different. The motivation comes from catching them all, and the game offers several ways to do that. You can run over to a Pokemon gym to do a raid. You can spot a rare Pokemon raider and walk over to it. Those opportunities have nudged people to exercise, according to a study found in the National Institutes of Health. Really? No way. And this is actually leading me there. What? Oh. It was highlighted. I don't know why. Well, conclusions. Novel mobile games that require players to physically move in the real world appears to be effective complement to traditional physical activities intervention, and they are able to reach millions of engaged users. We studied the effect of Pokemon Go on physical activity through a combination of large-scale wearable sensors data, which with search engine logs, and showed that the game leads to significant increases in activity by 1,473 steps a day, or 26%. Based on our findings, we estimate that the game has already added an estimate of 144 billion steps of U.S. physical activity. If engagement with Pokemon Go could be sustained over the lifetime of its many users, we estimate that the game would add an estimated 2.825 million years of additional lifetime to its users. Wow. However, further studies are needed to investigate potential long-term effects. We see great promise for public health and in designing geocentric games like Pokemon Go and working. Okay, so interesting article. I guess this was about Pokemon Go. Good conclusion, but yeah, it looks like yeah, part of the U.S. National Library of Medicine and National Institutes of Health. There was an influence of Pokemon Go on physical studies application. This was in 2016. Okay. So, oh no. Aha. Good thing I know keys and stuff like that in Chrome. Okay, so Yeah, significant increase. Nice. Good for casual players, but trainers looking for more, they focus on hatching eggs. That gameplay wrinkle has been part of the Pokemon Go since inception, and it's one of the biggest motivators to running. It contains random Pokemon, some of them exclusive. There you go. In my many years. Ins and outs, here are some tips. You have to gear up. Requires a smartphone, good running shoes, breathable face mask. Oh, damn. When doing this, you need plenty of regular Pokeballs, yada, yada, yada. Okay, plan a route, however you like to say it. Yeah, where you get to learn more of your community. Whatever the case, you learn of nests, Pokemon stops, hotspots around you, and learn to incorporate them into a run. Take your time when running. Keep in mind that the goal isn't to set the fastest of times. It isn't. The most important of Pokemon Go running is distance. Players should aim for objectives such as exercising for 5K or 8 miles and hit it. Really? That should be the objective. Or at least, you have an egg, so try to actually walk it. The reward includes Stardust. Nice. Beware of your surroundings. Okay. Pokemon Go isn't guaranteed to help you lose weight in 2021, but it is a great motivator to nudge you to a healthier lifestyle. It turns exercise into a video game, and playing it is a fitting adventure. There you go. Nice. And you get a video game columnist for the Bay Area News Group. He lives in Berkeley. Roasts his own coffee and drinks craft beer. There you go. Thank you, Chacho, for this interesting article of Pokemon Go and things to do, entertainment. But actually, let's bring this back. So, as someone that has played Pokemon Go, definitely this is, sums it up pretty much. But as for one that does not run, it never actually got me to run. But definitely for sure, like if you are trying to take those steps, like say if you are trying to be like a serious runner, definitely Pokemon Go can give you a push in that direction. Not necessarily, playing Pokemon Go will make you like win marathons, but definitely for sure it'll definitely push you into that in that direction if you are going to go. I wouldn't say it's an extreme, but definitely for sure if you take it to that level, for sure, I believe Pokemon Go can help you. It is interesting enough because, in my opinion, for this like health study, I don't believe it's correct necessarily. Like, I wouldn't say that these are very, very exaggerated numbers, but what the game computes as a step could literally just be someone in their car driving very slowly. And I'm guilty of doing that at times. Definitely if it's like raining and I kind of just want to go here to here for Pokemon and just catch them. But definitely for sure, I don't advocate people to play a video game as well as multitask as in driving and stuff like that. I was only able to do it because I pulled over to the side or definitely at a time where roads and stuff like that weren't as congested. Definitely in my town, very sleepy town after a certain time, so not too much activity going on at night. So like I said, I don't advocate. I'm not telling you to do it because it's definitely dangerous. But for sure, I do agree with gearing up. If you took it seriously like I did, and if you're going to like definitely go into this realm of running with Pokemon, because there is definitely for sure times when I have been out and about walking for Pokemon Go in my town, And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like there's something right here, like over there at this like Pokestop, and I had to go for it. And I wouldn't say I run for it, but definitely I change up my route, and I'm like, I'm going this way now. So I do appreciate Pokemon Go with that aspect of like, yeah, let's go here, let's go there, because this is there, this like that is there. So definitely for sure. I agree with what this man recommends. Definitely good running shoes, breathing face mask, because you know you gotta stay healthy out there. You gotta keep yourself safe. And then yeah, a good thing to keep in hand definitely is the Pokemon Go Plus or the Pokeball Plus, or if you have such a thing called a Gotcha, definitely work. But at least for me myself, I have tried some of these items. They are good. My only thing is that it is kind of like a random generator. Like, with all catches in Pokemon Go, it's not necessarily you hit the Pokemon with a Pokeball, and it's a for sure catch. There is a likelihood that they can escape. And with Pokemon Go Pluses or Pokeball Plus or the Gotchas, it's not as forgiving as it is catching things in real life. If you're a Pokeball and it just uses the Pokeball, not like Ultra Balls or Great Balls, so if they were to escape, you lost your Pokemon. And with the certain device, it might just be automatic. So, or at least what happens is that they throw one Pokeball. If it doesn't catch, it doesn't catch, and it runs away. And the backdraw of that is that, say you actually do run into a shiny Pokemon, and your Pokemon or the Pokeball fails to catch it. Yeah, you lost your opportunity for that shiny, which, in my opinion, if you're catching a shiny in the, you run into a shiny in the open, in the wild, pretty easy to catch. You do have golden raspberries, you do have ultra balls, or you do have silver raspberries, or silver pineapple. Sorry, I think that's like the better raspberry, golden raspberry. But definitely for sure, you gotta gear yourself up. Make sure that you are well prepared, especially in the wintertime, because it is raining cold. And at least when stuff gets warmer, maybe more vaccines are out. People have their masks on for sure, and we're not in a definite lockdown. We could probably be good to go out and about, have a route with Pokemon Go to get you moving. Because definitely for sure, with indefinite lockdowns, you gotta keep yourself mentally correct. You don't want to be cooped up inside and get that cabin fever. Take your time running. Definitely is not a game, or not. It's not a game. I mean, it is not very important to get to your final destination. It's all about the journey, not the destination. I agree with that. Play Pokemon. Take your time. Even, take time to like where you can like adjust your route. Like, even if you planned it, you might be able like, oh, hey, so this came up about like a rocket members over here, or a particular Pokemon that normally doesn't spawn is over here. So, take your time for sure. I agree with that, and be aware of your surroundings. Of course, you don't want to crash into ditches. Have people run into you with their cars or sideswipe you. So yeah, I totally agree with this article. I think this is a nice article to have and have seen, especially with the new year pretty much still upon us. This is the second day of the year. So, hopefully y'all are having a good time thus far. If you like what you are seeing, definitely subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell. Definitely will help me with my journey in the YouTube scene. Definitely, it's different. It's different from the Twitch streaming and stuff like that. I mean, it's not totally different, but there are some things that was like, I kind of like this little charming features of Twitch, but nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with YouTube. Nothing wrong. But okay, so I did hear about this. Larry King hospitalized, which is unfortunate, yo. I don't know why this is in the things to do list, but okay, sure. That's terrible. Striking a canine partner. Don't know what's up with that, but hey, good thing there's a probe into it and they're investigating that. Let's see what's up with let's see what's up with technology in Mercury News. Why not? The radical shift in Bay Area housing, jobs, and transit. How the post-pandemic push to work from home will affect rent, real estate prices, office leases, and commute patterns. Of course, yo. Of course. Like, I want to say it was mid 2020 when I started hearing stuff about this. Because, yeah, it was a thought. Or not just a thought, but, you know, there was people speaking of how this shift in people not going into an office will affect things because, you know, yeah, who'd, you know, if you don't necessarily need to go into an office, you know, as a company, like why would you need to continue to pay for an office? All that good stuff. And with commuting might not be such a big thing. Yeah. You know, BART might be cheaper. It might have to change up also too how it like seats people within like the trains, stuff like that. And then rent might be like a lot more expensive because people are just like, oh, you know, this, yeah, you might be able to be like, yo, I have like amazing like internet connection, stuff like that, and kind of be able to charge maybe more for rent nowadays because it's like, oh, you just need perfect connection and, you know, make it so that your Zoom calls won't be like, you know, disconnected and interrupted and stuff like that. So I can see a craziness going on with pricing and stuff like that for like housing. Let's kind of read more into this. Bay Area housing, job markets, and transportation could be radically reshaped now that employers and white-collar workers have discovered the enormous potential of working remotely. Early in the pandemic, Twitter announced that its employees could permanently operate from home. Permanently, wow, Twitter. And Jack Dorsey, that's nice of you. Yeah, I know, like my mom and my brother are working from home, so it's pretty cool. Foresees half his workforce doing the same. Google permanently, or exploring a permanent hybrid plan that will allow workers to split their time. For years, large-scale remote work has been an idea that employers and their workers toyed with. Now that we can see it be done, that the economy continues, that life goes on, says Russell Hancock, president of the CEO of joint venture Silicon Valley, there are wonderful new efficiencies that we didn't even realize. Hancock has friends who have moved their families during the pandemic to North Carolina, Colorado, and Hawaii, all while keeping their Silicon Valley tech jobs. Yeah, I thought of that too, you know, when this was all happening, because it's like California pays so much. California just pays so much. So, like, why wouldn't you go to some cheap place? Especially if they don't have like a income tax or whatnot. Like, why would you want to stay in California when it's so expensive? His organization is trying to figure out the magnitude of the worker flight. It's going to be interesting to see that. It by no means limited to tech workers. Lawyers, accountants, computer programmers, and even journalists are discovering that they don't need costly commutes to offices to get their work done, and their employees are finding that they can reap large savings as results. The potentially massive paradigm shift should forced regional policymakers to re-examine their housing and transportation plans and builders to consider way to repurpose vacant office space for badly needed residential housing. Wow, so more housing. That's all I'm gonna say. More housing. How large and lasting the shift will be uncertain, but it seems clear that Bay Area housing and commute patterns could be disrupted for years to come and perhaps permanently with fewer commuters and less freeway congestion. A larger portion of those who remain are likely to opt for the convenience of their cars rather than public transportation. Yeah, that is true. What's going to be interesting as well is that without the need of all this commuting from like all these other people, like, yeah, I'm curious as how Lyft and Uber and the such will do, because a lot of people just like, yeah, I don't want to use my car, or I don't want to drive, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing like Uber and Lyft and whatnot might be getting more into like food delivery, which is not going to be a bad thing. Just an interesting shift that they might have to like really be more into, but. Also, with that being said, it's not for certain that everyone will be like, germaphobe and, I got to stay home. I know my family's being on that, like, very, very safe side. I, for one, don't think is that intense. You just definitely got to still be very hygienic. You know what I'm saying? I've been hearing that, coronavirus doesn't, like, stick to things anymore. Like, someone could have sneezed on this like window and you touched the window and now you touched your face. Now you have it. Like, I heard that's not a thing anymore. So as long as you keep your mask, don't touch your face after being out and about, before washing your hands, I think you should be okay. So I'm curious. As how once everything reopens, like how, will people just be, let's go back to work, let's go back to vacationing and things turning to normal. But at least with housing and stuff like that, there probably might be a fat change to a lot of things. How large lasting shares? Yeah. That means transit agencies such as BART, AC Transit, and the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority will have to rethink their long-range ridership assumptions and adjust their budgets accordingly. Wow, will BART have to kind of like, will there be like, people losing their jobs because of the coronavirus and, kind of keeping people away from commuting and at least getting into an office that's, probably 30 minutes away, or 30 minutes or more away. With a financial win-win for companies and their employees, the new work paradigm already is affecting the office and housing markets. The vacancy rate for office space increased during the year ending October 2020 for the East Bay, San Jose, and especially San Francisco, according to data from Cushman and Wakefield, a commercial real estate firm. Prices have dropped in San Francisco, while the cost for much cheaper space in the East Bay and San Jose have held steady, at least for now. Meanwhile, rental prices for one-bedroom apartments in November compared to a year earlier were down 23% for San Francisco, 20% in Oakland, and 15% in San Jose, according to analysts from the Bay Area Council Economic Institute. Now, we all have to take this for a grain of salt. Daniel Bornstein wrote this. I'm not saying that they themselves like are known for stretching things and stuff like that, but what I'm saying, we gotta always take it for a grain of salt. But if it's all true, like I kind of saw this happening. Big numbers, 23%. That's pretty much a quarter of your pricing. So say you're doing $100 a month. Yeah. Now went down to $75. Woo. That's 25 a month. That you lost because of that decrease, and then times that by 12. You know what I'm saying? So that's like $300 pretty much Prices for condominiums in San Francisco have dropped and resale inventory has soared as urban dwellers have figured out that they don't need to stay in the city or to be close to their jobs. At the same time, East Bay suburban single-family home pricings continue rising, aided by incredibly cheap mortgage rates. Yeah. Interesting that the suburban home pricings have started to rise. I mean, sure, maybe it's like, oh, hey, we don't need to be in the city, so let's just go to the East Bay and suburban living. So, makes sense. Makes sense. And then, of course, cheap mortgage rates since interest rates are low. Workers in their 20s will return to San Francisco, predicts Matt Reagan, senior vice president for public policy in the Bay Area Council, the single biggest driver of where young people live is where they can get a date. The city will rebound and get back much of its nightlife culture. But he says more white-collar workers in their 30s will head for the suburbs after having their first child rather than waiting for their seconds, or leave the Bay Area altogether. Even before the pandemic, we were seeing signs of out immigration. The population rate for California was near flat. I think that's like the growth rate. Yeah, Bay Area growth rate, and the numbers will probably worsen. The potential to work from home from anywhere has been piled onto the region's high cost of living and often unfriendly business climate that is driving away workers and employers. In the past couple of months, electric car maker Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced he had departed for Texas, and information technology company Hewlett-Packard Enterprise database software giant Oracle, financial services from Charles Schwab, and pharmaceutical distributor giant McKesson Corp revealed plans to relocate their headquarters from the Bay Area to the Longhorn State. Wow. So I didn't know all these other companies were going to to Texas, but there you go. The Bay Area after the pandemic will be quite different from the region we lived in before. Actually, that was a pretty good article. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad that I read that. To hear this prediction that younger folk will get into San Francisco, possibility. I'm curious as what will be that. Will it be for sure like, I mean, so with housing like going down, I mean, still probably quite expensive, and I'm sure a lot of places aren't like up for grabs. They're probably like, oh yeah, we're renting it out. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of like people will just be in San Francisco because they want to be in San Francisco, not just per se for their job. So I can kind of see that. I think that would be very interesting to see like a nightlife culture or the culture come back. Definitely with how things are going about with gentrification and all that jazz. Like, it would be great to see. It would be great to see things come back for like culture and stuff like that. So yeah, that does like pose a question. Did the pandemic kind of stop gentrification? Makes me think though that since like house pricing are going down, or at least like condominiums and whatnot, makes me want to invest in one. It really does. What they were saying, yeah, prices for condominiums in San Francisco have dropped and resale inventory has soared. They don't need to stay in the city to be close to their jobs. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, those are still pretty pricey. Even like one of the cheaper ones, more than $250,000. I'm looking at the stuff. Why? But definitely would be nice to have one of those. See how prices do in this year. Okay. Weather stuff is going on within California. Waymo? What's Waymo? Pioneering autonomous driving. Okay. Never heard of Waymo before, but I'm guessing they make the technology. A unit of Alphabet. Okay, so it's part of Google. Yeah, Mountain View. Googleplex. So I guess Google's Tesla cars will be like Waymo cars or something, or Waymo, like it's based off the Waymo's technology. I'm curious. Yeah, autonomous driving technology development company. Google branding. Partner with Intel. Really? Wow. I was going with Lyft as well. Interesting. Okay. um. So yeah, definitely as well. Looking at interesting. Looking with how technology is, at least for automotive businesses and stuff like that. Looks like electric is the way it's going, or at least auto driving, autonomous driving. I'm surprised. I feel like there's, I don't know, I wouldn't say these big leaps in, like automatic driving or not. Well, self-driving. There you go. Like, what is the words? What is the terms that they're using? Self-driving cars. I feel like I was discussing with someone when I was doing like Uber drives and stuff like that, or Uber. I was driving for Uber. Yeah, it's interesting. I think even with like self-driving cars being a thing, I feel like having a physical wheel, like steering wheel, will never be phased out. And I honestly wouldn't want a physical like steering wheel to ever be phased out, even if we get to a point with the technology where it's just like, yeah, there's never any crashes and stuff like that. I'd still kind of would want that option to still be able to control the car, because with self-driving and having things do its own thing, you still have to be wary of, could someone hack it? Could it go out of control? And, how can I get it back to being under control if it if it ever gets to that situation? See what's up with science. Oh yeah, I was hearing something about a nurse. A nurse got the coronavirus vaccine, and then they still like tested positive for the virus. What is up with that? What is up with the vaccine? Nurse. Um, test positive after vaccine. Look at that. This is coming from The Hill, as well as like ABC News. Five days ago from 10 News. New York Post said it 4 days ago. A California nurse tested positive for COVID-19 more than a week after receiving the vaccine, though medical experts say the timeline isn't unusual. ER nurse Matthew W., who works at two different hospitals in San Diego, received the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine on December 18th and initially reported arm soreness for a day. 45-year-old nurse felt sick after his shift with it. 6 days later, on Christmas Eve, the nurse was experiencing classic symptoms: fatigue, chills, body aches. 2 days later, tested, came back positive. It's possible that Matthew contracted the virus before getting the shots, since it takes about 2 weeks for the first dose of the vaccine to kick in. We know that the vaccine clinical trials, I wonder if this has been like updated or it's just like, yeah, is this person better like right afterwards? Because it's like, oh, the vaccine started kicking in or something like that. We know the vaccine clinical trials that it's going to take about 10 to 14 for you to start to develop protection from the vaccine, Raymer said. That first dose we think gives you somewhere around 50%, and you need that second dose to get up to 95%. Wow, 2 doses of this thing. Added that people shouldn't let their guard down even if they've gotten vaccinated, and that they should continue to follow protocols such as washing hands and wearing masks during a pandemic. I don't like that. I don't like this article. I mean, nothing against Elizabeth Isolde or something, but just to be like, it's, there's a possibility he got, he was in contact before, and that's like, is that true or not? You know what I'm saying? That's so interesting. It's like, oh yeah, he was sick before we gave him the vaccine. Like, but he's saying 2 days later. Wait. Yeah, on the 18th, and then initially reported 6 days later. Yeah, 6 days later after getting the vaccine. And they're saying it takes 10 to 14 to get the protection. Interesting. I don't know. I want to say it's all a little too convenient. Damn, what is going on with some of these things on the top? But yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that. It's like, oh yeah, just person was already sick. But okay. Water should be a basic right. I've been hearing that water is going to be a scarcity. Some of these articles a little old. Yeah, not too much for science. Or at least like the Mercury News doesn't seem like they get like, or they post like articles heavily, but smaller paper, I'm assuming. All right, let's see some like world news. Let's see if they got anything more. I was hearing stuff too about like what's it called? Like some tension with like China and like the Taiwan Strait. Still more of that like dispute in that area. I don't know if it's truly for those islands, but supposedly within like the Taiwan Strait, there was like a very rare like passing of two warships like together, and it's just like, whoa, that's a lot. You know, that's heavy artillery right there. So this is in business. Yeah, doesn't seem like too much is happening. At least within these like articles and stuff like that. Nothing wrong. I was just hoping for a little bit more. Okay, so at least nice to see that for a bit. Let's see what Drudge has for us. I mean, Drudge has, you know, it's not the bestest, but I feel like it still gives off like a, you know, it's not like too unbiased. Nursing home had party. 27 died. Damn it. Yo, really? What is going on? They just had a party. What? Yeah. What is up with this? I've heard also that a Trump appointed like like judge or supreme judge throughout this other like election contesting and stuff like that. What's going on with this? Oh, this is from Stanford Advocates. A last-ditch effort by President Donald Trump and his allies to overturn the election thrust Wednesday into chaos Saturday, thrust Washington. I think it said Wednesday. I don't know. Into chaos Saturday as a growing coalition of Republican senators announced plans to rebel against Senate leaders by seeking to block formal certification of President-elect Joe Biden's victory. The push to subvert the vote is all but certain to fail when Congress gathers in joint session Wednesday to count electoral votes, college votes already certified by each state. Still, Trump is continuing to press Republican lawmakers to support his baseless claims of election fraud, while calling on thousands of supporters to fill the streets of the nation's capital on Wednesday in mass protest of his defeat. A group of 11 Republican senators and senators-elect, led by Ted Cruz of Texas, vowed to join Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri. I don't know what MO is challenging votes from some contested states calling for an emergency 10-day audit to investigate Trump's unfounded claims. Hours later, Trump wrote on Twitter that that there would be plenty more to come. Interesting. Public debate. High drama at the Capitol is set to punctuate a momentous week in politics that will delineate power at the dawn of the Biden presidency. The new Congress to be sworn in Sunday will reduce the size of the Democratic House majority. Trump and Biden will both campaign Monday in Georgia ahead of twin runoff elections for the U.S. Senate on Tuesday that will determine which parties control the upper chamber. Later in the week, members of the Republican National Committee will gather at Florida. Okay. Yeah. So pretty much it's just like, converge, challenge the election results. Long-term damage rather than short-term turbulence. I don't know. I don't want to read all this. But definitely for sure looks like another go at it for to change the election. Let's see how that goes. If they were, police believe dad killed 2 young daughters. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, I don't feel like reading all of it, but the gist of it is, they're going for another try and say if this actually works, you know? Sorry. Throat's itchy, I guess. But yeah, another attempt. Man, say for some reason this actually like goes through and they flip it. I think this nation would go nuts. Especially those on the left and all that. I think they would just kind of go nuts with all of this. With that information at least of like, oh yep, everything just got flipped. Get screwed or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't say just get screwed, but man, I think for any type of unity, I think that would just be out the window. See what's going on with the New York Post. Baby cries. Oh no. Her face. I mean, that must be like disturbing to see that type of thing on your like if you're a baby like that too. You know what I'm saying? It must be mortifying. It's like, why is she peeling her face? Why? What? A plane crashes in a Detroit home? What? What? Hold on. Egypt Covington's voice enchanted the residents of Ann Arbor, Michigan before she was brutally murdered in 2017. What? A third suspect has been charged in connection with the 2017 murder of Egypt Covington, who was found dead and tied up by Christmas lights in Van Buren Township, Michigan in 2017. Oh my goodness, yo. People are crazy. What? Before she was found bound by Christmas lights, Egypt Covington, 27 at the time, was a beloved singer who achieved renown in the university town of Ann Arbor. 34th District Court in Romulus, Michigan, assigned Strahan Groom on Thursday. Groom was charged in connection. Shannon Groom, 28, was arraigned Thursday in... Okay. Yeah, and these people, 2 men. Okay. Her shot to death. Wow. Account manager for wine and beer importer sugar. Crazy. I've never heard of like news.com. So kind of have to like take your, grain for salt and all that, but like, yikes, yo. There's literally a tax for sanitary products for women in the UK. I mean, that's great that they abolish it, but goodness, yo, really? Wait, Kim Kardashian's son, Saint? I thought they had a kid named North. Saint West? How many kids do they have? I don't know. Who cares? Okay, well, I think that might be it for me. It's getting late. But this was definitely fun. Totally enjoyed it. Hope everyone, had a good time. If you ever, if you're watching. But what would definitely be appreciated if you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and also hit that notification bell. It helped me so much. I want to do more of these podcasts. Definitely, I'm gonna, I guess have more of like I guess be more structured next time instead of kind of going off the top, kind of just, nonchalantly getting to like certain topics and stuff like that, and have a, more of a focus and idea and, well thought out message and stuff like that. But hopefully you guys had a good time, as much as I did. I'll be back again soon. I don't know when, but definitely streaming for YouTube is definitely the thing for me at the moment. So yeah, shout out to y'all. I'll be back again soon. Until then, my name is Theope, and I hope to see you guys again shortly. Deuces. End.